How freaking awesome is this? Quick update on the Gira fish. We did the cooler and they are doing fantastic now. 2 weeks into it, we haven't lost any. They're doing amazing. Speaking of fish, I have an aquarium that really started my love of animals called the Belle Isle Aquarium here. It's the oldest aquarium in the country and we're about to head there. Told the story before how the real love of animals came from this place when I was 2 years old and visited the Belle Isle Aquarium. That's where I saw my first ball python. They don't keep reptiles there anymore, but I saw my first ball python there and I absolutely fell in love with reptiles at that point and really knew, my entire life after that visit that I wanted to work with animals. And we are here. Look at this place. I mean, this is unbelievable. It's legendary. This was built in 1903 and it was running up until about 15 years ago consecutively. The longest consecutive aquarium in the country running until about 15 years ago when they shut down to do a remodel. The remodel was basically putting it back to the original when it opened in 1903. So let's go check it out. And it's so crazy. It's like I've said, I remember coming here, again, I was like 2 years old. We used to come here every year at a field trip. This is exactly what it looked like way back when I was in grade school. And again, over the years, it kind of got deteriorated. Then they did this giant refurbish of it. Don't get me wrong. Listen, this is 1903 technology. Obviously, you would never have a tank with all of these things here because obviously they didn't have the technology to do long, giant tanks like they do now. But look at this clown knife right here. Unbelievable. I mean, these are so cool. I think it's majority freshwater fish, if I remember correctly. But even like these rails here. I remember being a little kid being like, looking up like this. Oh, look at the alligator gar. Take a look at that beastie right there. Again, this is similar to like the predator fish tank that we're going to do, right? We'll have alligator gar, the clown knives, but then the arapaima, red-tailed catfish. Like I said, when you come to Belle Isle, it's not like it's going to blow you away like, oh my God, what a great aquarium. It's the nostalgia, right? And it's just so cool. So got some clown roaches right here, some gourami. And again, this freshwater, I love it. All the live plants, like a resurgence in the aquarius world right now is live plants. Definitely something we're going to do a few tanks of. So this is really cool. But it's interesting, even the lighting here, they don't actually have like lights on the tank. They actually have like natural light coming from below. Never do an aquarium like this now, but it's still freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. Remember, I thought they didn't have any reptiles here. Well, obviously they do. They have a little tiny Bowser, an alligator snapping turtle. It's freaking awesome. Huge. I mean, I can't believe that Bowser was one day that little guy. Again, a cool kind of setup. See, if you look up straight through here, how there's no lighting or anything at all. Lighting from above, the ambient lighting is coming through. Just really weird. Something you would never think of. 1903 technology, you know? Got some more garfish. Look at this one down here. Really beautiful Florida gars right here. They get pretty big as well. Another predator fish. Cool. It kind of looks like some of these tanks. Look at the kind of, cement, right? It's just cement backing. Look at this guy. Hello. And it looks like this paint has been here since 1903. Take a look at this, guys. These are actually freshwater pufferfish. Pufferfish are great. Most people think of just saltwater pufferfish, and we'll have both. We're going to have freshwater and saltwater pufferfish. Those are so cool. This is actually a new exhibit that wasn't here the last time I was here. So this is like a reef tank, have some wrasses and some other things, tell the fish are small. They probably haven't been in here that long. Interesting enough, I'm looking up and I don't really see the lighting here. I usually want really like intense lighting for the reef for corals to be able to grow. So there's a chance these are what they call inserts, which means that they're not actual real coral, they're actually fake coral. And I'm sure that's what they is. I'm looking around, I don't see any actual coral in here. It means that they don't need the light in order to keep the corals actually growing. Light makes the reef tanks look really cool. The darker tank, it just kind of takes away from it a little bit, but still, I still love it. I'm glad they're adding marine fish. We talk about back of the house. Back of the house is basically where all the filtration is. This is staff only. Number one, look at this door. It's a really narrow door, but really tall. I can't imagine what's back there, because you got to remember that this is technology from the early 1900s. It's got to be wild to see the filtration in this place. I wish I could get back there someday. Maybe I'll do a tour sometime. This is pretty cool. This is actually a sturgeon fish, and I remember when I was younger, they actually had a giant sturgeon that was actually in one of the tanks. I don't see it anymore. But the sturgeon fish are interesting because it's one of the oldest living fish on the planet. These guys haven't changed for millions and millions of years. Literally, sturgeon fish were around during the dinosaur era. Think about that. These are living dinosaurs. It's really cool, and they can get absolutely mammoth. As a matter of fact, a lot of the lake monsters that people see in certain lakes are actually just like 12-foot long sturgeon. And guess what, guys? Here are some lake sturgeon right here. I didn't realize they have them. Again, these are little ones. They're going to get giant. Pretty soon they won't be able to even fit in this tank. I mean, they get, again, giant, 10 10, 12 foot long. These guys are just little tiny ones. And we actually may add a couple sturgeons because you can sometimes put these in koi ponds. So we definitely want to do them. They like cold water though, so we'll see if we end up getting some, but sturgeons might be pretty cool. Here at the Great Lakes, there's a lot of walleye and largemouth bass. These are basically what people fish for in the lakes around here. Some more lake fish that people fish for. These are crappie right here. Then these are actually yellow perch. The yellow perch are really beautiful, but literally in the lakes around here, this is just another tank of what people fish for. This is another dinosaur type fish. These guys actually go all the way back to the Jurassic period, unchanged. I mean, how cool is this? It's called a bowfish. Wild to think that there are fish in the waters that have been around all the way to the same time as dinosaurs. I mean, how cool is that? And look at how cool that is. These are actually rainbow trout. You're gonna find these all over Michigan, mainly up in the upper north. A lot of times you can find them in the rivers. Again, another fish that people fish for. I'm not really a fish eating guy, but I hear they're yummy. And this is the basically like the marine section here, just a little tiny section. And this is, if my memory serves me correctly, where the ball pythons were when I was younger. This is a lionfish right here. Lionfish are actually a venomous fish that if you touch the little prongs there, you get a pretty good zap. It's got a neurotoxin. It's definitely gonna make you feel bad. And these guys are now invasive down in Florida, a lot like that, but wow, what beautiful fish. Seahorses, we're definitely gonna have a seahorse tank. I've always loved these guys. And of course, they're really amazing. You can see a couple of these here have really big bellies. They're probably pregnant. The interesting thing about seahorses are that males have babies, not females. How weird is that? This is the Finding Nemo tank here. We got Dory, we got Nemo in here. Look at how beautiful this anemone is here. And again, you can see the clownfish actually in the anemone right there. They kind of pair up and stuff like that and they swim through it. It's just so cool. This is actually a really beautiful tank. Right here in the corner, you can see what's called a mantis shrimp. Another thing that we're definitely gonna have, just because they're so iconic. They have like the fastest punch, and number one, it can hit so hard, it's like a 22 caliber bullet when it hits something. It's really cool, and they use that, of course, to break the shells of things they're gonna eventually eat. We have some freshwater rays here. I talk about the fact that we're gonna have cow-nose rays, which are marine. We're gonna have bat rays. We're gonna have Caribbean rays, which are more circular like these guys. But we're also gonna have a handful of freshwater rays. There's actually a bunch of beautiful ones, and these guys are amazing. And hey, one day if we're lucky, they might even have little live pups, which is really cool. I noticed in this tank too that there's a giant arowana, one of my favorite fish that is definitely going in the predator tank. Here it is, and this is a big one too. That's a beautiful animal right there. Arowana have always been something I've been really into. I used to keep them when I was younger. They only got about this big because my tanks weren't that big, but you have a giant arowana, man, I can't wait. Of course, the infamous, the piranha. I mean, they are cool. They're a schooling fish. I like the idea of potentially doing them. I know there's something a little bit boring about them, I think, but I still think that, you know, because they're so iconic, when you think of the Amazon, you think of anacondas, you think of piranha, and so we'll probably do a cool tank. They are cool. These are nice big ones. These are red belly. Feeding time would be pretty cool. Maybe we even have a piranha tank where you can feed it. I don't think they're the most exciting fish in the world. I do think we'll probably have a tank of them. So these are actually cichlids, just like the African cichlids, which, by the way, we're going to be heading to the aquarium house, checking on all the fish there, but these guys are actually Texas cichlids, not African cichlids. Pretty cool. I mean, they're still really beautiful. You guys remember when I was at a rod at Predatory Fins and we got shocked by an electric eel, but it was only about this big? Well, this is a bigger electric eel. Now, they get much larger than this. Pretty cool. This actually has the voltage. Like, as it's putting out, like, some voltage, it'll actually do it where it's stun prey location, navigation. It's pretty cool. You'll actually see it kind of lights going on. I wouldn't want to get stung by that one, that's for sure. These may look like eels, but they're actually lungfish. And what's interesting about lungfish is they're born with gills. And then at about 7 months of age, they start to develop lungs. So these guys actually breathe oxygen, which is really cool. So they'll hold their breath for a long period of time and then go up and actually take a breath of oxygen. This is like that evolutionary thing, right? Animals like the lungfish are the ones that actually started to come out on land. Axolotl alert! We got some axolotls here. I mean, you gotta have axolotls. I mean, they're just so freaking cool, right? Like the water really cold. Remember how we had to put a chiller on the gyrofish? Same exact thing. You gotta make sure that these guys are 70 degrees or less to really do well, but really cool animals. That metamorphosis between like a tadpole and a salamander, right? They're kind of stuck in between. Really awesome. I've always loved discus. You can assure that I'm gonna have a big discus tank. Probably something 3 times this size. Just have like blues, but look at how beautiful this one is here. Look at the electric blue one in the back right there. Absolutely incredible. There's a whole bunch of flavors of these guys. The amazing Amazonian fish, love them to death. No doubt we're gonna have these. Another ancient fish here. These are beachers, and they're actually dated to 350 million years ago. Think about that. It's crazy. You know, fish have been around for so long. Another fish that date back to the dinosaur era. We're about to head over to the aquarium house to check up on things over there. And these are, of course, the same cichlids that we have in our 750 gallon. Of course, different colors. These guys come from Lake Malawi, which is one of the places where the African cichlids come from. These are another cichlid cichlid, but I love them. They kind of remind me a little bit of the flower horns, but these are actually what they call frontosa. So they still get that kind of cool bubble, not quite as cool as the flower horns. I mean, you've got that blue, the black, the colors on them. Really cool fish. You know, again, another one to check off the list. Gotta have frontosa.
Nice, do you remember when we went?
Yeah, fun.
We did. We want to go again. We discovered you guys last year. I've been scared my entire life, but I was like, you know what? I need to show them that I'm brave. And then I learned all about like how they can't fall because, you know, like, yeah.
So that was super cool, so nostalgic. I love this place. But speaking of aquariums, what do you say we head over to the aquarium house? And of course, we have my cichlids, of course, here. Absolutely beautiful. These things are so colorful, and they know they're going to get some food. So cool, man. This is my daily chore. To be honest with you, we have an automatic feeder on this, but I can't help but come every day and actually feed these guys because it's so freaking awesome. There's Jerry. It's this little tiny one we actually caught up. Noah caught him, a little tiny one, and we named him Jerry. It's the first time I've seen him out. Then of course, we got our koi that I have to feed every day. Love these guys. By the way, I'm getting some new koi food from Aquascape. I know a few of you koi people are like, don't feed them the Tetra fish food. Listen, I don't know that much about them, but we are getting Aquascape koi food, and it's supposed to be really good for them. These guys will continue to grow like crazy. I tell you what, I love coming here. Like I said, every day I've got to feed the cichlids, got to feed the koi. I just hang out with these guys. This place is dope, man. I love it to death. Some people have been staying recently. The reviews have been really good, which I'm not surprised because really, you guys see it, but in person, it's really way cooler than it is on film or in pictures. This is my daily grind here. So it's really cool to check out the Belle Isle Aquarium. Always cool to check out the aquarium house. Speaking of out, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember...
Why am I shaking? I know you're a normal person.
No, you're good.